California is a state of superlatives. If it were a separate nation, California would be in the top 20 countries of the world in terms of population, gross national product, personal income, agriculture, and certainly in terms of quality of life. Like any dynamic society, California has its problems. Housing is dear. Public transportation is lacking. Unemployment is high, while some jobs go begging for trained people. California is out of balance. Nowhere is that imbalance more evident than in the state's distribution of water and people. Most of the water is in the north part of the state. Most of the people are in the south part of the state. In a nation of free people, no one can be compelled to relocate from their chosen area of residence. Lacking the power or desire to move people to the water, it becomes a responsibility of government to bring water to the people. By extending what nature has provided, we can bring about a balance to satisfy the needs of everyone in California. More than 12 million people in Southern California quench their thirst from only 4 sources of water. The Colorado River Aqueduct, the State Water Project's California Aqueduct, the Owens Valley and Mono Basin, and delicately balanced groundwater supplies. By the mid-1980s, Southern California will lose more than enough water to satisfy the annual needs of a city with more people than the San Francisco Bay Area. That is when Arizona begins taking its share of Colorado River water. The Owens Valley Mono Basin supply is also being challenged. And the management of Southern California's groundwater, a national model of fairness and efficiency, cannot be jeopardized by failing to maintain nature's balance. By necessity, some areas of the state are extracting more water from the ground than nature can replace. Taking advantage of every reasonable means of conservation and water reuse, Southern California will still be short of its needs by 1990. If that happens, the state of economy will go out of balance, and all Californians will feel the jolt. The solution to this imbalance is as clear as the pristine droplets of snowmelt that cascade down 1,000 brooks and streams of the mighty Sierra Nevada and finally wash into the Pacific Ocean. We must capture enough of those droplets to maintain the state's economic base and leave enough to protect the precious environmental wonderland of the North. We can do that. We can pump enough surplus water from the San Joaquin-Sacramento Delta to make up the loss of Colorado River water. We could do that right now without building another aqueduct, without building the Peripheral Canal, without regarding the environmental balance of the Delta. But that wouldn't be right. The Delta would become an environmental tragedy, and that cannot be allowed to happen. After spending more than $40 million in 15 years studying the Delta and the options available for moving water across it in an efficient and beneficial manner, the Peripheral Canal is the choice of conservationists, engineers, civic leaders, and the people responsible for meeting the water needs of millions of Californians. The Peripheral Canal creates a 42-mile recreational channel for fishing, boating, and other aquatic pleasures. It provides strategic freshwater outlets into the Delta to protect farmers from seawater contamination. It efficiently moves water through the Delta to the south without risking further erosion of Delta levees. It eliminates reverse flows of water that confuse migrating fish, and it will help return the Delta to its natural balance. It takes water from a location far removed from fish nurseries, allowing the wildlife food chain to continue unhampered by man. It minimizes the danger of levee breaks to a critical water supply. When levees break now, salt water is drawn into the delta, threatening the freshwater supply. It leaves more than sufficient water to protect the delta. The Peripheral Canal will be an attractive, cost-effective, safe ribbon of water that will add millions of dollars to the economy of the North. It is the fairest way to share the water wealth of the state. Opponents of the canal charge that it is unnecessary to move more water into Southern California. That charge is false. But we won't be able to prove that until 1990, and then it will be too late. The need for additional water in Southern California is clear. Opponents mistrust California water interests to release fresh water into the delta from the Peripheral Canal. Senate Bill 200, approved by the legislature in 1980, requires the maintenance of certain water quality standards in the delta. And Proposition 8, approved by the voters in November, places delta water quality standards into the state constitution. Our promise is guaranteed by law. The delta is a priceless state resource, and our interest in preserving it is as great as anyone's. Opponents charge the cost is too high and disproportionately shared. We estimate the cost of the Peripheral Canal to be about $10 a year for a family of 4 on the average. The total cost will be borne fairly. Southern California will pay about 48% of the cost because that is where 48% of the benefit will be realized. Opponents charge that the Peripheral Canal is a massive new project. The Peripheral Canal is massive. It is not new. A cross-delta transfer facility was approved by the voters as part of the State Water Project in 1960. And now, through the referendum process, you are being asked to vote on it again. The referendum is a valuable tool in a democratic society that allows the citizens of California to affirm or reject an action taken by the legislature and the governor. Metropolitan Water District urges you understand and appreciate all of the implications involved in this important issue. Listen critically to both sides of the issue and determine for yourself what risks are involved in the outcome. The Peripheral Canal will take about 10 years to complete, and when water begins flowing through it, the canal will be a monument to sharing, fair play, and mankind's awakening to the needs of our environment. The balance of nature does not always work in the best interests of people. Our dual responsibilities to the people and to the environment require extending nature to bring about a balance nature did not provide. The Peripheral Canal is that extension.